This is for the free thinkers, the curious beings that swim upstream, who see possibilities, not problems, that learn from the past, live by the present, and create the future. This is the I Love Ugly audio show.
On this episode, we sit down with close friend and ambassador of I Love Ugly, hip-hop artist Chester Watson. We discuss the importance of goal setting, the role ballet played in his life, how he breaks through a creative block, and why experimenting with sleep and fasting improves his ability to make quality music. I know you're going to enjoy this one.
What's up, Chester? What you been up to, man?
Yo, just chilling, I guess promoting for the instrumental tape right now.
Yeah, when's the instrumental tape coming out?
It dropped what was it, like I guess a day ago, like not too long ago. Literally, we dropped it in the middle of the night, and
Nice.
I haven't been like too crazy on it, but yeah, it dropped on the Eclipse.
Yeah, what do you mean by you haven't been too crazy on it?
I never really go too hard with how I promote things. I'm always just kind of like, I've always just kind of been like, it gets where it goes, you know. The internet does what the internet does, and so I just kind of just keep it natural because I don't want to seem like I'm trying to like shove it down people's throats or nothing like that, and I feel like people will gravitate to it, just to let it, you know, breathe and stuff. I guess.
So just let it, whatever happens, let it happen organically.
Yeah.
So for that, like, what tools do you use for your marketing? Is it just Instagram and Twitter, pretty much? Like, do you have a mailing list or anything?
I have a mailing list for like the website, but usually I just use like Linkfire, which is like this. It's basically so that you can consolidate all of your links, like whether it's Spotify, iTunes, and stuff like that, and SoundCloud, and it's all just one link. So it's like a kind of like a hub for how people can listen to and where they can listen to and buy your music.
Yeah.
And I just got hip to that like this year, like last year, and and I've just been using that. So that's kind of the only real thing. But Instagram, Twitter, not much else.
Yeah. And then, because obviously, you'd classify yourself as an underground artist. So how do you cultivate that underground following? And also maintaining cool, but at the same time, you still want to move units and you want as many people as possible to hear your sound. How do you get that balance?
Well, I think definitely me starting so young. I started
How old
making
were you when you started?
I started making music when I was probably like 13 or 14. And
Wow. And how old are you now?
I'm 21. I'm about to turn 22, so it's like eight years almost.
Yeah.
And so I started probably like literally freshman year of high school, so I was like 14 going on 15. And now that I think about it, it was freshman year, so I was 14. And I guess just, you know, from skating, skateboarding, music is just like embedded into the culture, and so it was just like a easy I guess gateway, especially from coming from ballet. Like that was it was just only natural. I guess it was more natural than it was like forced.
Yeah. And then even to this point where you've got to in this point of your career, so you think that's just happened purely from the music? So you've not once intentionally gone out there and been like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to put myself out there. Chester Watson, I want to get as many ears and eyeballs on me as possible so they can hear my sound. So you've never gone out and intentionally done that. You've just done it all purely organic and just from people listening to it and sharing it amongst their friends.
Exactly. Yeah. Like Phantom, the video, I was really big on Tumblr when I was younger. So like I linked up with Tulsi, who she like made the Phantom video, and she's made like so much artwork for me. And uh basically Tulsi, she's actually in like Australia, I think somewhere around Sydney. Like
Mhm.
she's really dope. So like just having that, like, I guess, connection to people who like were literally nowhere near me. It's kind of like,
Mhm.
I guess the energy was so spread out that it just kind of seeped into the water and just went everywhere, I guess. But
Yeah.
I feel like it definitely picked up uh slack outside of the US, and like it picked up
Yeah.
eyes and ears outside of the US before
Yeah.
it did within the States.
Yeah. That's interesting how that happens. I always buzz out how that happened to I Love Ugly as well. We almost started get yeah, we had a bit of an underground local following, but we started getting most of our traction in the States, which I always find fascinating. I guess there's always a group of people in different countries that want stuff, are seeking stuff out that's not from their hometown. So that's probably why it does pop off. But what's
Yeah.
what's just even a question I have is like what do you think it takes to take it to that next level? Like you've got artists that do blow up. Like what do you think, that is it just the music, or do they have to have a whole bunch of other stuff, other ingredients that goes with it? Like what is that formula you think? Also just to give even aspiring musicians and rappers and stuff in our audience now, what advice or what do you think you could you know helps distinguish
Tell
those
them.
those leaps?
Yeah, I feel like definitely having your hand on, like, I feel like nowadays promotion is like, if you can get like professional promotion, or if you can like promote uh professionally, it's probably that's the way that you should do it. Like a lot of people, I
Yeah.
think they're really uh they're informal with how they promote, and I think that in itself is like a style of promotion, being
Mhm.
informal and like kind of uh more relaxed with how you, like, more conversational, as opposed to um like an ad or whatever. But I think
Yeah.
there's benefits to both of them. And
Yeah.
definitely, I guess, internet friends. A lot of people have people who are like famous on, like, they're like super Instagram famous or something, and or they're like
Mhm.
super Twitter famous. And like people like that, definitely, they help spread like good um good vibes and like good music. Like I know I have a couple of homies who are super dope, and they help me out, like not necessarily like they're doing it because they, want, they know that, like, I guess, I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate everything that anyone does for me. So, and all the
Yeah. Yeah.
homies, they definitely love to show love. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting, eh? It's almost like, yeah, it's almost. But do you think as well that you can, um, you can almost hack the system as well?
yeah, yeah, for sure. I think the system can be like rigged from not, well, yeah, in a way, like rigged. Like if there's like labels and stuff, like they have a lot more power and like knowledge of the people who actually make things happen within like the music industry. And it's more of an easier access. So like there's this thing, I was reading it, like they call it like the low pump plan or something like that. And
Mhm.
basically they just meme the artist, like, in,
Mhm.
into fame. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
that's like a way of promoting. And yeah,
Mhm.
it's clear, it's evident that so many people are doing it and using this form of promotion, this like
Mhm.
shock value, funny, hysterical, like comical side of promotion,
Yeah.
to blow up. And it
Yeah.
also, I guess, there's so many kids now who can use music for themselves, and they don't have to like go through their parents anymore. Like
Mhm.
that, I feel like it's, if you can appeal to like the younger generation, like you're obviously start gonna start buzzing a lot quicker.
Mhm. Yeah, nah, definitely, man. And then just before I get into it too much as well, like, yeah, obviously I know you well, and
Hmm.
a number of our audience knows you well as well. But like, what's can you just take us back a little bit, bro? So obviously you started, you know, you said you were doing ballerina prior to this, and you did a lot of skating. Like, how the fuck did you go from being a male ballerina into making the music you make? If you could
Yeah.
give people some context around that, your backstory, that'll be super helpful.
Yeah, so basically when I was like, all right, so when I was super young, like I was probably like when I was born, I was like a dancer and like a singer, and like I was just super, like ambitious as a character when I was younger. And so like my
Yeah.
mom, she definitely nurtured uh what she saw in me creatively, and how I wanted to express myself, whether it be singing or
Mhm.
dancing or whatever it may be. And so Michael Jackson, he was like, he's such a huge inspiration for me. I never really talk about it, but I
Mhm.
literally have like Michael Jackson like plaques and posters in my room. And like it's been like that since I was like literally since I started making music. And like
Mhm.
that's because like my older brother, he was super into Michael Jackson. He was super into Thriller. And so I guess me being into like that, like Thriller, Michael Jackson, he was a very like he was a very trippy dude. I feel like he had like some
Mm.
super trippy videos. Like Thriller was trippy, Leave Me Alone was a super trippy video. Like, so
Mhm.
those are like two of my favorite videos growing up. And like I
Mhm.
guess um like once I got out of like elementary school, there was this performing arts school that was like super far away from my crib. So like I had to be in like a magnet program in order to go to that school. And I was like already dancing, like hip hop dancing, like like actually like roboting and waving and stuff like that. And so like I was like, yeah, sure, I want to do ballet. Like my mom was like, I told my mom that they came to the school and stuff, and she was super supportive. She's like, yeah, do it, whatever,
Mhm.
da 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 da. And I ended up like falling in love with it. And like my dance teacher, I had two of them. There was they were a couple at the school, at the performing arts school, Miss Mervet and Mr. A. I have Miss Mervet's last name tattooed on my left hand, actually, because she was just like super important to me. And
Yeah.
she was from Egypt, and so she kind of opened my eyes to how big the world could actually be, like, and how close to home somewhere so far could hit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, she was like an Egyptian, but she was Russian trained, and like she like taught over in Russia when she was younger. And her story is crazy, but she was super inspiring, and her travels were super inspiring. So
Mm.
once I hit like uh eighth year, like eighth grade, which was like right before high school,
Mhm.
um she retired. She retired like my last year of like right when I was about to graduate middle school. And so I just like, it's not the same anymore for me to dance and like her not be like she retired to the point where like nobody could get in contact with her. So like that's just
Yeah.
the type of person she was. So like she
Mhm.
didn't like her personal life and I guess her work life to be associated. And that's something that I kind of subconsciously picked up on, I guess. And
Mhm.
so yeah, like so I haven't seen her since eighth grade, and her name's tattooed on me. But so she
And
was super
then
integral. And then I started
while you're
rapping.
doing while you're doing ballet, did you get bullied? like
I
like
actually did. Yeah, yeah. People like some people thought that like they would like be like, "Yo, you're gay," da da da, or whatever. But um, it's also like the way and the people that went to the same school as me, like the performing arts school. It was a magnet school, but it was in the hood. So like normal like hood people actually went there too. People from the hood and like the surrounding areas of J-Hop, they went to the school, but they just weren't in the magnet program. They went to it like it was just a
mhm.
normal school. So
Yeah.
like it was like a huge mixture of like you have like these super hipster like preppy like people, you feel me? And then you have
Mhm.
like the super hood, like don't give like fighting every day. Like that was kind of the atmosphere. It was very like bipolar in a sense. And so you kind of just took it how it was. It's just like, all right, yeah, they think I'm gay, but I'm lifting up girls in tights all day who's really taking the L, you feel me? So it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
What about the girls? What about the girls though? Did they know? Did they know that you weren't gay?
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Like I was with them all day. So like I kind of talked to them more than I talked to like not the homies because I was obviously go home and chill and skate with the homies, but
Yeah.
like people in my classes. Like I had ballet for like two classes, two periods, and then every
Mhm.
other thing was like one period. So
Yeah.
the majority of my day would probably be with the people who were dancing and who were
Mm.
you know like that. So they understood me probably more than a lot of people
Yeah.
did
And
back
then
then.
so while you're doing it, at what point did you decide I want to give this music thing a crack? Because I know that people have ideas and they want to do something. They want to, you know, create their own personal brand
Hmm.
or start a podcast or things like that. But
Yeah.
they never really act on it. At which point were you like, fuck, I have interest in this music thing. Obviously, you're inspired by Michael Jackson, but you're like, I've got interest in this. I want to begin producing music. I want to begin writing and rapping. At what point during that time did you decide, and then what actually made you pursue it and just go for it?
Basically, so this was like when I was going to high school, this was when like I was skating. So like my homie Shane, he makes beats under Kanye Sono. He put me on to like Doom and like Madlib. Like he gave me
Mhm.
his iPod one day and like when I was a freshman and it was just like, yo, just listen to all my music for like the school day, and then just give it back to me like whenever. And so I was just like bumping his music all day, and like I came upon like Distant Lands, and like I came up like a lot of the special herbs, like instrumentals and
Mhm. Mhm.
like Doom, just like Doom stuff. And he also had Tyler's like the Yonkers, like art, art, art. He had that
Yeah.
thing at the beginning. That was his
Yeah.
ringtone.
Yeah.
So like I would just be like, yo, what was that? Like so he put me on to all of this like stuff at the same time when I was a freshman. And like Wu Tang, he put me on to like a couple like when I was in high no when I was in middle school, like my like the summer before high school was when he put me on to like Wu Tang, and during high school is when he put me on to like Tyler and Earl and like Future and like and then Doom and stuff like that. And so like
Yeah. Man,
then
just before you proceed, sorry to interrupt, but it's fucking crazy. Like I can hear Doom, MF Doom, and I can hear bits of Earl inspiration for your music. And I actually, when I first heard you, I was like, this guy Chester Wasson reminds me of like a new age Doom, like a younger version, bit of a twist. But yeah, bro, I just wanted to say that. But anyway,
thanks,
carry on,
man.
bro.
Nah, that's super awesome. But yeah, pretty much like I resonated with that sound and with like how he said things because I was doing ballet, so like I came from and I was like super into school. Like I didn't like I had like I talked to girls and stuff, but like I wasn't like chilling with girls after school or like doing none of that. Like it was skate, school, ballet. Like that's how my life was. And so
Hmm.
like I was super focused and I always got straight A's, like always. I only got like
Damn.
C's in literally my last year of high school. And that's
Hmm.
because I was just like and it was only one C, and that's just because I was like, bro, I'm not fucking with this shit anymore. And so pretty much like uh yeah, like he put me onto that, and then my brother who was like he was like a heavy gamer, and so he had a laptop and he put FL Studio onto it because I asked him, I was like, "Yo, I want to just like, I want to try making beats or whatever, you know, I want to give it a go, like, because I had these crazy like time signatures in my head, and like still do to this day from like dancing to ballet, like like it's like art, like an Arcadian rhythm or something like that. Like it's just
Mhm.
like embedded. And so like um yeah, so I had these time signatures and I had these like weird melodies in my head from like the stuff that I used to hear, and like the remnants and bits of pieces that I still, had with me from when I was dancing and stuff. And so I was like, yo, I want to try it. I want to see. I don't really have shit else to do. Like this is when I'm supposed to be trying shit and failing at
Mhm.
it if I don't
Mhm.
if I'm not good at it. So I tried it. And I was always like into poetry, but like making beats and putting the bars to it was
Mhm.
something new to me, and I had never really listened to rap before. Like I was
Mhm.
listening to like R&B and like classical music before that. And so like I feel like I came to rap with like a different sense of what rap is. Like I didn't
Mhm.
have the same background as like people listening to Biggie or Pac or like Big L or
Mm.
like
Mm.
growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
for me. That it wasn't like,
Mm.
not that it wasn't for me, but it just didn't happen to me. And
Yeah,
so I feel like
100%. Sometimes I feel that when people come into, say, rap or business or clothing, that don't have that background, usually it's one of the most it's creates something unique. I think the fact that you're naive to how the rules are, and what music you should listen to. Like you grew up listening to Michael Jackson, classical music, R&B. You did ballet, you skated. Like that's those are different elements coming into a genre. With
yeah.
and you come into a genre with a fresh perspective, and then people are like, damn, your sound sounds fresh. Where's this from? And it's just like the fact that your upbringing was all these different elements. And I'm much the same. Like when I started,
Mhm.
when I came into the business and we're into fashion, I was an artist and a graphic designer, and I came into fashion and I just did what I felt was natural. And
Mhm.
little did I know I was bending the rules, and that's what
Yeah,
actually
you were
made
onto
us
something.
leap ahead. So
Yeah.
I think that's cool. Like, so many people think that you need to come from this background and have done this, and your dad needed to be a boxer in order to get into boxing and this and that, but
Yeah.
it's actually not true. I think naivety is actually like that's a real advantage, or
Yeah.
especially in like your case and my case, it worked to our advantage.
Yeah, it worked
um
super well.
yeah, so the first bit of material what you made, like that must have been like, how did you feel? Like it must have been awkward at first, but did people vibe with it straight away, or how did, like, what was the
Yeah.
what was the beginnings like?
So basically, like in the beginning, I wasn't that good. Like you could see potential in what I was doing, but I wasn't really like I was a beginner. I was an amateur. Like I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know how to mix. I didn't know any chords. I didn't know like 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 any scales. I didn't know any of that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
I came from moving my body to now I have to really tune into like my mind and
Mm.
my hands. So like that was a process of like kind of trying to internalize what I was feeling physically and channel it into
Mm.
like words and writing.
Mm.
And
That's
so
interesting.
yeah, it was definitely I feel like I still look back on those days and I'm like, yo, it's crazy to think that I thought of that stuff when I was like that young. Like I look
Yeah, yeah.
at my past and I'm like, damn, dude, like I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like it'd be kind of weird for me to think of that now. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Oh,
So it's like
definitely. Yeah, I
it's
think I think when you're a kid, you just don't give a you don't give a shit. You say what's on your mind.
yeah,
You're rebellious. You've got beef with your parents. You got beef with the world. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's just a way to get everything out. I can definitely agree with that. Even some stuff I did previously, I was like, even some of the campaigns and the
Yeah.
messaging, and even when I was writing music, I was like, what the fuck was going on
Yeah.
for in my mind? Yeah, but it's really interesting what you said before about the transition from moving your body and then transitioning into and channeling that energy into your mind, into your music. And I feel that's why, you know, not everybody, but you know, there's a lot of successful athletes and musicians that, you know, or even athletes that primarily they just have to use their body, like that is their,
Mhm.
that's their career, and then they switch to say business, and then they succeed in business, and then
Yeah.
I think they just know and they learn how to tap into that, you know, how
Yeah.
to tap into those inner powers or whatever it is, and
Yeah.
triggering it into a new form, new medium. It's really
Mhm.
interesting. Like, what do you think? Like, you know, is there any, do you have any like hacks or tactics or anything you use to do that? Like
Well,
what?
this was around the time where I had started smoking like trees. Like I had never been exposed to it before. So it was like all this stuff was kind of happening at the same time. And so like I feel like you're getting all of this new information and new experience that y- you have to process. You like you there's no other way for it to be digested other than to like experience like an epiphany or like some type of euphoria, especially uh
Mm,
and when you burn for the first time, it's I feel like the experience is different for everyone.
yeah.
And what you take from that experience and those first few experiences, I feel like kind of sets the tone for how you are uh
Mm,
when you do it for like the rest
mm,
of your life. And
mm,
so like the people you're around, like the setting, all of that, it's like PTSD, you know what I'm saying? But
mm,
it can either
mm,
be positive or it can be negative. And
mm,
so I only had these really like wild, like I'd be with my friends and like we'd have to go outside to burn. And like he had this like wild, like it was in Florida, but he had this crazy like backyard, and it had like a
mm,
sewer in it, and so there was like so much space, and it was just like you were kind of encased in darkness, but
mm,
it was hot, you feel me? So it's like it was just like
mm,
there's all these factors that you kind of pick up on subconsciously when you're experiencing something, and
mm,
then in retrospection you kind of dissect it and you can put it
mm,
together in a way that makes sense not only to yourself but to other people.
mm. Yeah, so interesting, man. So do you, obviously, you know, you've got some pretty, you know, you got some trippy friends as well. Like,
Yeah.
how do you, do you think about this stuff quite a lot, and do you do it through, you know, meditation, or do you do it through in your music? Do you do it through, you know, smoking weed, hallucinogenics, like any of that? Like, do
Y-
you,
yeah, I
how
feel
do you
like
experiment with
the homies, they're not as like too wild with it. um the people that I've dated, like the girls that I've dated, they've been like a bit more eccentric, I guess.
it?
um
Hmm.
on that
What do you mean
side of
by
the
that?
spectrum. Like, I don't know, they're just trippy, you know what I'm saying? Like they're trippy souls. A lot of
Yeah.
them are very, very psychedelic in their own right as women. And I feel like we kind of in this in a world, like we kind of discredit, not purposefully, but
Hmm.
just by the nature of how things have been, like the
Hmm.
influence that the women in our lives have had on us.
Mm.
And
So
um
important, right?
yeah. Yeah, extremely important. And I feel like
Mm.
having positive people or positive, you know, guys, girls, parents, whatever around you, definitely it shapes how you can be creative.
Mm.
And
Mm.
like my homies, they're kind of different levels. Like Kent, he's a bit more mellow. Like
Yeah.
Shane, also super mellow.
Yeah.
Um and Nick, he's a bit more eccentric, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's all different types of energies around me, but somehow
Yeah.
we all blend, and I think having to do that in real time and in
Mm,
person translates into how we make music and how we've made
mm,
music.
definitely. It's probably something people don't realize, right? That you're the person you are is due to the people that you spend, the 5 people you spend most of your time with. People don't
Exactly.
realize that. So if people feel like shit all the time, or feel depressed, or their health isn't in order, they probably don't realize it. Are not consciously aware of it, that the people they hang around with are like that as well. And I think
Exactly.
same seems to be said for people that are successful, or that are doing something innovative all the time as well. They're probably hanging out with people that are doing that as well. And
Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
it's the yeah, I think it's a fine distinction between people that are doing it, and people that aren't. Is the ones that are doing it do realize that that's a real thing. Like even
Yeah.
myself, just for this year, I'm not into New Year's resolutions, but that's something that I've been far more conscious about. It's just like I got to really pick the people that I spend time with, because that's who I'm going to become.
Exactly.
And at the same time, it's like, it gives you a bit of self assessment as well, because if you are, feeling a little bit not as good as you should be, then it's a bit of a reflection of who you are as well. So I
Hmm.
think it's like a real it's a powerful thing, man. I think more people just need to realize. And it's like, yeah, don't feel shit about it. End of the day, it's, life's short. You got
Yeah.
to, every day you got to live every day, with high energy, and have a positive. Obviously, the downs, having the failures and the negativity, it's part of it. It's inevitable. You're going to do that, especially if you are trying to do something good. But I think overall, you wanna feel good. But it kind of it's a bit of a segue to my next question, bro. It's like, what is your greatest failure? Obviously, you're still young. Your career. I feel your career is starting. But what's your greatest failure you've had
Thus
to date,
far.
and how did you bounce back from it?
Well, yeah. So I feel like personally, my greatest, my greatest like pitfall or like downfall was in 2016, which is weird because it's more personal than it is like how I guess how people saw the situation. But um, like you were there for it, so you kind of understand. But in 2016, like uh past cloaks dropped, but then to like follow up past cloaks, we did what was it, spring mirage was that
Mm-hmm.
one.
Yeah.
And it was, I feel like it was good for us to make it because
Mm-hmm.
of what like I learned personally from making that style of music. But
Yeah.
I feel like it could have stayed in the vault. Like it didn't have to be released to learn those
Mm-hmm.
lessons. And also that was when like we were doing like Xanax super heavy, and like it was just very detrimental to like all of the people who were associated with uh the me, I guess, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not like I didn't really have like a girlfriend or anything. Well, well, I at towards the end of that year I did, but um, yeah, like we were just really. I feel like that was the point in time when everyone around me was like the most unfocused, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that hit us mentally. After the
Mm-hmm.
fact, it's like, damn, bro, we really let ourselves like not give our craft 100% of us, you feel me? Like it was more like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
we really did that, you feel me? We really didn't do the shit that we normally do before releasing, and like proof checking and like listening to
Mm-hmm.
it. Like
Interesting.
it was more like energy and like boom 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 boom, this is done, we're
Mm.
dropping it, da 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 da.
Damn.
And
So you just lost focus, and you didn't go through that filter process which you did previously.
Yeah, which I normally
Yeah.
do. Like,
That's
it
fuck.
just
That's so
didn't
interesting.
didn't happen. Um,
Yeah.
j- whether it be it was probably be like we were just going through a whole bunch of stuff, like as a collective and a group of friends. Like shit was just going on, and like we were like we lost the crib that we lived in.
Yeah.
Well, we were renting it, but like they just wouldn't let us renew our lease, so we had to
Mm.
like split up. We had just gotten back together for like that year. Like all of us were
Mhm.
like we would be in the same crib all the time. And so we were
Yeah.
productive. And that's when I made like Pharaoh and Trident and like all of those bangers. And but then the year after that was kind of when it split and everybody kind of had to part ways. And I think that like parting ways kind of kind of fucked stuff up in a
Mm.
in a in a weird
Interesting.
sense.
So how did you bounce back from that? Because that's so many people do get hit with this stuff and they don't bounce back. How did you bounce back?
Well, I think the first part of it is realizing that you're messing up, like a lot of
Mm.
people are very self absorbed and they can't see the flaws in themselves and
Mm. So
they
true.
they think that they're infallible, but it's not the case. We're all human, and I
Mm.
think the fact that you know I wanted to do more, and also like you and Zach were like in my ear, like I was talking to you guys emailing, and so like I had more. It was bigger than me, the situation. I was like, I
Mm.
had to realize that the situation and the impact that I could have was bigger than the shit that I was going through at that
Mm.
time.
Mm.
Like I
Mm.
could, if I let that situation or those situations get to me and bring me down, then I wouldn't be able to give all this knowledge and all of this emotion that I have and can give the world. I wouldn't be able to do that because I'd be letting like trivial stuff that in reality could be resolved just by like I said, checking yourself.
Mm.
It-
That's so true, man. Self assessment and also accepting that this thing is bigger than you. That's 100%, it, bro. And in life there is things that we can control, things that we can't control. When the things happen that we can't control, instead of just bitching and asking why has it happened to me, we just gotta roll for punches. Yeah,
yeah,
I love that, bro. And I also remember that as well a few years
yeah,
ago when you were emailing in, and it's just I wish, because when I went through my dark times when I first started, which I've also had as well along the journey, I didn't
hmm
really have that. Fortunately, I had an older brother that was just starting to, who was also a big influence on me, who was just starting to get into this mindset, and he was quite good to bounce off. But I think like that's where failures and hitting rock bottom is so important, because you're at the bottom. It's like, fuck, what choice do I have? The only way is up. It's either
yeah,
that or keep going down, which we don't want to do.
at all.
And I think, yeah, and then I was just reading a book by this Navy SEAL called David Goggins, and he talks about it callousing the mind. You know how you callous your hands when you're working, or if you go to gym or whatnot. It's the same thing
hmm
with the mind as well. And it's actually that stuff that hardwires you, and the way you deal with it is the way you can deal with future problems as well. And more
yeah,
more often than not, you become more resilient. You can take on more, and that's when you grow. But no,
damn,
that's really interesting, bro.
yeah, no,
That's
that's
yeah.
real.
I've been
That's
wanting to
real.
ask you that for a while. But what's
Oh yeah.
just swing it into a different direction as well. Like, what does your morning ritual look like? Like, do you have, because you seem someone that's very, you've got a good head on your shoulders. You've got a good frame of mind. So what does your morning ritual look like, or is there anything kind of weird that you do, um, like to kind of get you in the zone or anything like that?
Yeah, like sometimes like when I first started, like I would wake up and I wouldn't eat anything until it's weird, but I just would wake up, and because like I feel like when you first wake up, you're a lot closer to your dreams and that
Mm,
plane of existence
mm,
when you first wake up. Before, so I would literally just wake up and instantly go to my laptop and my speakers and just start making whatever the fuck was in my mind. Sometimes I would
mm.
just wake up
Interesting,
out of
man.
my sleep with melodies and
Mm,
play them or something like that. But usually, um, yeah, I would just wait until I did something productive to go eat. I couldn't eat until I did something productive, and
mm,
I feel like that I would literally be hungry, so like I had to get something done. And so like
mm.
I think
Damn.
attaching our physical, what we say, yo, you're hungry for this. You got to make it physical. You got to actually feel that hunger sometimes, and that's what I did.
Mm, mm. Yeah, so true, man. That's why even I know a lot of monks and a lot of religious people as well. Like fasting is in, it's written all over those, the ancient books like the Bible and stuff, because it does
Yeah.
exactly like that. It's like makes you feel this, you're experiencing almost physical pain,
Yeah.
therefore your mind has to intervene. And that's fascinating, man. And then, is there, in terms of a dream state, so you wake up, as soon as you wake up you go straight to producing and writing, can you hack that? Like, have you figured out a way to tap into that, like say during a day, like doing a power nap and waking up and after 15 minutes and then getting straight into it,
Yeah,
or anything like
doing
that?
that. Yeah, so basically like there's stages of sleep that you get. There's like REM and like there's REM numbers and stuff like that. There's different that you can get into deeper forms of sleep, basically. And so
Yeah.
like once you like break down those layers, I feel like y- that's like I feel like it's the distance away from reality that you are, the distance away from the this physical plane's consciousness
Mm,
into a different plane of consciousness and existence. Like so and I definitely feel like, groggy, burn a lot, period. So like most times I'm just tired, and late nights I
mhm,
would stay up super late until like I was just so tired, and
mhm.
then start making music and then be like falling asleep while you're making music at the same
Damn,
time. But
damn.
it's definitely like there's different processes that I've gone through over the
Wow.
years, like making music.
Yeah, so you've really experimented with that. So on the verge of exhaustion and passing out to
Yeah.
waking up fresh. So you really just experiment to see what you can come up with. Do you find that the what you make, the music which you make when you do go into those different frames of mind, are different to where if you were just, during a day, full 8 hours sleep, normal belly full of food? Do you find
Yeah.
the two are different?
Definitely, definitely. Cause most times when there's songs that I've made in those states, and I literally don't remember how I made them. Like I
Hmm.
remember like I have the equipment and I have the settings, but I feel like when I make music, sometimes like I'm channeling something else. Like it's not me doing it. And I feel like in those states is when it happens the most, because like deserts, like the instrumentals and the instrumentation that I get is mainly for like when I make beats, I feel like. And sometimes when I write, like a lot of times when I write, but more so when I make beats, and like when I'm dealing
Mm,
with sounds that I can morph and do like weird things with, so
mm,
like and but yeah, like deserts is one of those songs where I'm singing in the background and I'm doing all of this with the bass, and it's just like I don't remember how I did it. I
mm,
can look at the
mm.
project file and I can be like, word. So that's that. But it's just like I couldn't recreate it if I wanted to. Type. That's just
Damn.
is that kind of deal.
That's so fascinating, man. That's trippy. I think yeah, I've experimented quite a lot. Not obviously to this extent, but because I'm more about cognitive performance, because
Hmm.
my my career is based on my ability to stay focused on a task for a long period of time, and I have
Yeah.
a lot of stresses and interruptions and people depending on me. So for me, I'm all about cognitive function. So with that, I've experimented a lot with sleep and power naps as well. And what I found is, if I was tired, um, say from being disrupted from my son, my youngest son
Hmm.
waking up, I'd be tired during the day. So naturally, I'd just go to have a power nap and then just not have my alarm on. But what I found is I'd feel more tired. So I've been experimenting with little hacks, and I found that I think it's NASA experimented with their astronauts to no more than 23 minutes sleep, or 22 minutes or something like that. And I've been doing that for the last couple of years. I'll just have, if I can, obviously I can't really during the weekdays, but weekends
Hmm.
I'll just have power naps, and it's phenomenal, man. Like how you just feel refreshed, and then I started having green tea. I'd have green tea before I took a
Fire.
power nap. So by the time by the time it gets to my bloodstream, I'm already asleep. And then when I wake up, you've got the L-theanine, the amino acids from the green tea, and you got the caffeine, and then you've also got the sleep, and you're just like, yeah,
Refresh.
you just want to do shit, you know.
Refreshed.
Um, yeah, and I love that, man. I'm always fascinated just when people do experiment with weird things like sleep and all sorts. But that's so when you hit a creative wall, like when you're obviously your life and your career is dependent on quality of what you put out. When you hit a creative wall, what do you do?
Well, I try to do something completely different than what I'm doing at that moment. I'm like, all right, so this recipe for cooking up beets is not working right now. It's not what it used to be. I got too used to doing it this way, so I need to do it a different way. And like I feel like that's when I started playing guitar like a couple years ago, like last year.
Mm,
Like I was so used to the keys and just like programming and just like whatever, like random ways to make beats that I started listening to like a lot of the older stuff, and it's just like they had like so much soul because they were kind of tethered to their instruments. They were tethered to the sound that they were making. A lot now, it's really easy to be very informal with your sounds because you're in front of a laptop. You're not necessarily strumming anything, you're not hitting a key. You can literally use the keypad on the laptop, and it's just like typing. It's not a different
hmm
feeling at all. So I feel like when I started playing guitar, it definitely completely morphed how I saw music. And I feel like you got to find ways to reinvent your love for what you do and how you
mm,
do it in order
mm.
to keep on progressing and keep on being innovative in that field and changing it.
Yeah, wow, that's yeah, so interesting. I'm learning a lot, bro. I'm learning a lot from you.
It's
and
lit.
to, nah, it's great, man. I think yeah, that's so true. Just experiment and go. Yeah, try take a different direction, and it's the same thing as well. Usually, I find just by changing your environment. Recently, we just rearranged our studio, all the desks and mixed up where people sat, and it just brings a different energy as well. And I
Yeah.
guess that's kind of similar to what you're saying. But
Yeah,
what's
feng shui is real.
so yeah, man. And in terms of like food, because I understand a couple years ago you were vegan. What's your diet like nowadays, and how strict are you on that?
Yeah, yeah. When I was little, I never like I don't know. My mom tells me stories because I obviously I can't remember when I was first born, but like when I was little, my mom she says that I would look at something, and if I didn't like how it looked, I just would not eat it. Like it's just like
Bro, you
it was
sound
like
like my son.
that that's how I was. I was just like, what is this? So like
Yeah.
I feel like I've kept that cautiousness with me growing up. And so like what I eat is very is not as I feel like like eclectic as it could be for where I
Mm-hmm.
am in life. Like I kind of still just eat like a little kid, honestly, like
Like
pizza,
what? Like what?
cereal.
Pizza? Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
I eat like
heaps of sugar.
yeah, yeah, like beans and like hot dogs. I was like raised on that. I don't know if like a lot of people eat that anywhere else, but like baked beans and hot dogs, that's it. Like that's like probably my favorite meal. And like I don't know, like and but I try stuff like, vegetables, I
Yeah,
like cauliflower a lot, to be
yeah.
honest. Like that's one of my favorite vegetables.
Wow.
Um
Have
and
you have you have you ever experimented with diet and being like because I'm actually listening to a audiobook at the moment just about diet because for me I'm always looking for that edge. How can I go from where I'm at now to the next level and the next level? And now at the moment I've got a bit of a fixation with diet, and it's phenomenal the science associated with the diet and how it has an impact on your brain performance, and also just as a creative, which is so dependent on your mind, your frame of mind. Have you ever experimented with that or even looked into it? If not, I can give you some pointers.
Yeah, I definitely probably need to take some pointers from you because people have always tried to make
Yeah,
me eat more
baked
food.
beans and hot dogs. I probably got a few
Yeah,
pointers, bro.
exactly. People have always tried to make me like eat different things, and like I can cook anything. It's like you just read the recipe, but like I just have never been that culinarily adventurous in any way, shape, or form.
Mm, yeah, interesting. What about coffee?
I actually don't drink coffee at all. Like, if I drink
Yeah.
it, it's probably like something sweet, like a frappe or like frappuccino or something. Like,
Mm.
I don't even go to Starbucks all that often. If I go to
Yeah.
Starbucks, it's to get like a bagel and cream cheese or some shit.
Yeah, yeah, bro. Do you know what you should try? I reckon it will explode your mind. Is I do this. I've been doing this for the last 5 years. It's called Bulletproof Coffee, and it's from a dude based in I think he's based in LA or something like that. But it's basically black coffee with butter and grass-fed butter, non-salted, and coconut oil, and then you blend it up, and you have it like a latte, and you don't eat anything else. So basically, the whole idea is it's intermittent fasting. So you don't eat anything till around 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and your mind just explodes. It turns you on like a Christmas tree. Cognitive functions just fuck through the roof. Like you
Bulletproof
almost
coffee.
can't contain it. It's honestly, dude. It's a game changer. It's been a game changer for me. A few
That's
people in the
fire.
office are doing it.
You put them
Yeah,
on.
a few of my brothers. It's yeah, man. It's crazy, bro. Because there's this misconception that fat is bad for you, but all that is it was that whole thing was designed by the corporates so you could be eating more wheat and more dairy and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But good fat like butter, olive oil, coconut oil, nuts, that stuff is like that's actual crack for your brain. But you don't have the side effects. You're on all the time. And I've been doing that, bro. And it's honestly like sometimes I switch it up because I'm sick of it or I want to try something else, and I always find myself going back to it. But you
That's
should
hard.
I'll send you the recipe
Yeah,
after
please
this,
do.
bro. But try it out, bro. I'll send you the science and stuff like that. But
Yeah, it sounds
it's
interesting.
it'll blow your mind. Maybe that can be a goal for you, bro. Yeah, just
Literally
diet.
trying to the
Yeah,
diet,
bullet.
switching it up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What in terms of goals, like you're you're focused. You understand what needs to be done. Like, are you strong on that? Like setting goals, and whether it be written down or it's in your mind, you must have something that kind of constantly pulls you.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. Like a goal. Like I set goals like short term and long term goals. Like my manager. Well, he's like I don't know. He's more like a brother to me, like an older brother. Like his name is Jeff Weiss. He's been with me for like the last 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and yeah, like him, he's like a really, really really intellectual person. He's a writer. He's he's a traveler, you know,
Mm-hmm.
vagabond in some sense. He's super dope. And so he's a very knowledgeable person. And so uh like a lot of times I'll hit him up for like things if I don't know it, and stuff like that. So yeah, he's just
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Jeff.
Okay, yeah, because it's yeah, iron. It's yeah, it's such a cliche. Like, set your goals. The top 2% performing people and blah 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 succeed because they set goals. Like, you got all that shit, and it's cringy the way they say it, but it's so true. Like, if you've got a goal, um, also the scientific part is your brain now knows what to focus on because we've got so much going on and so much information your brain's processing. If it was to process it all, you'd go fucking crazy. Like, you'd end up in a straitjacket. But whereas with
Yeah,
goals, it's called the RAS reticular activating system, and it's basically your brain. You're telling your brain what to filter and what to focus on. So, when you buy like a car, or if you get into a certain type of music, all of a sudden you start seeing it everywhere and hearing it everywhere. That's the RAS going, and the thing is, you can hack into that and trigger that as well, just by
that's fair.
setting goals and just like
Yeah,
reminding yourself about it every day by putting it. In my case, I've got it on my Mac, my iMac. I've got a big post-it note. I've got it on my phone. I try to look at that stuff all the time, and I begin noticing it as well, which is it's trippy as like once you can really tap into that stuff. So I just
yeah,
wanted to
man, it's
ask you about that.
super important. Super important. I feel like,
Um,
yeah, like goals are definitely important. Like I said, Jeff, because he's one of the people who kind of helps me build the trajectory of my goals, and
yeah,
because he's older than me.
yeah,
He knows the field a lot better than I do. He's like a
hmm
veteran. And so like, yeah, building your goals is definitely like, I have lists that we
So
go through.
would he be your mentor essentially?
Yeah, essentially, yeah, like my mentor, he's my manager right now. Like he works as
Yeah.
my manager, and but yeah, he's definitely a mentor, like brother, big brother figure in my life.
Mm,
And yeah, I can talk to him about pretty much anything. He's a super bro. Like I fuck with him. Love Jeff.
yeah, that's
But
dope,
he
man.
helps me set those goals, and he helps me like stay on track um with them, because I can get consumed in just making and
Mm,
making and
definitely,
making
man.
music all the time.
Yeah.
So he's like, yo, you got to set these goals long term, even if they're like super crazy and you think they'll never happen in a million years.
hmm
Those will be the ones that happen when you least expect it,
Yeah, bro.
honestly. So
100%. He's right. He's right with that, bro. It's crazy looking at goals even that you set 2 years ago, and at the time when you set these audacious goals, you're like, that's not happening. That's fucking crazy. And then you're like, what? I can't believe I thought that was crazy and unattainable at the time. When you look back on it, you're like, damn, I've already achieved that. I'm at a different level. So it's
yeah.
it's so important, man. I saw you tweeted a couple months ago about to Kanye about you wanting to be his protege. What was up with that?
Yeah, like basically well, like, yeah, Kanye, he's I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, I'm supportive of this man, but the way the world's climate is right now, and the social climate of the world is just like, I don't know, like I feel like he's not on the right side of things within like that spectrum. But
hmm
musically, I feel like he has so much to offer,
Mm,
and so much to like, I don't know, give and manifest. And like he's
mm,
such a beacon of just like anybody who's been, influenced by Kanye, whether it be like Kanye put Tyler into like the bigger frame of things, tweeted about him, and, uh who else? Big Sean's raw as fuck. Like
Mhm.
Kanye is he. I feel like he's very integral into making people um like super icons. Like
Mm. Yeah,
that's
I agree. How do
and
you think?
so I.
Oh, sorry, you go, bro. Sorry.
Oh no, yours sounded interesting. I wasn't really about to say anything.
You just killing time. No, I was gonna say, how do you think he catapulted to that different stratosphere? Yet he still maintained a high level of integrity in his music. Obviously, he married Kim Kardashian. That helped a lot.
Yeah,
But besides that, how do you think, and what how do you think he did that, and what takings can you take or other people can take from that?
the kids. He got to the kids. I said it earlier. If you can tap into the admiration of the youth, you're
Yeah.
tapping into the future. Essentially, you're tapping into something that's living long past you. And Kanye has been very adamant on doing that,
Yeah.
and being very progressive musically. And um yeah, I feel like he's definitely on to a lot of stuff before it pops. And
Mm,
whether that be fashion, shoes, uh music, whatever, auto-tune,
mm,
Kanye essentially made that shit blow up. Yeah, T-Pain and Cher, people did it before him, but they didn't
mhm,
do it as cool as Kanye. You feel me?
mhm.
It's
Yeah,
about
man.
doing it the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and he
definitely,
does
man.
things very stylishly.
Yeah, 100%. And considering he's what, early 40s, yeah, he's so
Yeah,
relevant still is phenomenal. And what's your excuse my ignorance here, but what is your definition of youth in terms of age? Like is it at 13 to 25? Like what is your definition of a youth?
I feel like youth is like anyone, probably like millennials
Yeah.
and like gen I think we're generation Z or some shit like
Yeah.
that. Like I
Yeah.
feel like probably like 27 and down, because the way that the world is set up, people are growing up mentally later than they used to. You feel me?
Mhm. Yeah.
And so it's like in the medieval times, people was in the field super early, like working with their parents and stuff like that. It's not like that
Mhm.
anymore. The
Mhm.
luxuries of the world are far more abundant, and therefore we have like a lot more. I was watching something that said we have like a lot more like downtime, and like
Mm.
time, like more downtime than we've ever had in the
Mm.
history of the humans. You feel me? So like
Mm.
that um that I feel like kind of factors into the youth
Mm.
range being expanded.
Mm. It's that's so interesting what you said about more downtime than ever in history. Do you think that's also what's the big cause of this whole depression epidemic? Like people are more medicated for depression and anxiety now than they ever have. Do you think it is just because they've got so much time and so much choice and so much information, and with
Yeah,
social media, it seems like every
yeah,
fucking person in the world is a superstar. Do you think that's
yeah.
also got a lot to do with it?
I definitely feel like it does have an extreme amount of relevancy on like the mental state of the world. Like we see these things glamorized, that normally we wouldn't see. Like we see people dying, we see people
Mm,
getting shot by police, um we see all of these things online that we've never seen, that a lot of people were never exposed to. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people were
mm,
never exposed to people dying in the streets or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
mm,
But the internet and how connected we are and how much time we have to worry about other people and what else is going on, definitely I feel like opens the gateway for more emotions of the
mm,
world to be collectively shared. and
mm,
depression is an emotion, and like happiness is an emotion as well. So
mm,
there's good things that come from it, and there's bad things that come from it. But the I feel like the glorification of being a shitty person has uh messed up a lot of things.
mm,
Like um it's like it became cool to be like not in tune with nature, and not in
mm,
tune with the world, and not in tune with your neighbor, the person,
mm,
you know what I'm saying? It
mm,
became, and now in the States is very, very, I'm pretty sure other places too, but since the freaking president got into office, it's opened a gateway to more and more uh I don't know, I guess, what is it called, psychological devolvement
yeah,
is the only way that I can put it. Like that's it's like depressing, because it's like, yo, it's like our voices aren't even being heard at this point, and to an extent they are, but it's not happening as quick as it is. It's like and like you said, you're exposed to so many different things that are going wrong with the world,
mm,
when usually you'd only be exposed to like your local news or whatever, you know
mm,
what I'm saying, or your
mm,
local whatever's going wrong locally.
definitely, man. It's once again, right? It's almost like a choice. Like you can choose to look at the websites you look at, and also now
Hmm.
with the algorithms on social media, you can almost choose to filter out all that shit as well and only focus on the good as well. But it's almost
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's almost like I feel that back in the day, people lived, people were on farms and they did labor jobs, and it also gave them an opportunity to have a lot of thinking time as well, which I think is
Hmm.
healthy because you just, just having just gratitude, like actually telling yourself and in yeah how thankful and how much gratitude you have just to be alive. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's so true. Like, you know, people don't spend enough time to see all the good that's going on in their lives and in the world. Like, yes, there's a lot of crap and a lot of shit going on and things on the internet that people have never seen before. But at the same time, we're so much more advanced. Like poverty is almost becoming less, and obviously in the states, I know medical bills and whatnot. The medical system's a bit screwed up, but even over in New Zealand, like you have, if you're sick or you have cancer, like the government's got your back. You can, that's a huge thing. That's a huge drawing card.
Yeah.
But like people don't, people still find reasons to complain about things, and it's
Yeah.
once again it circles back to what we were saying probably earlier in the conversation is you can blame everyone, and there's things that are out of your control. But at the end of the day, if you take full responsibility and also just admit, and just acknowledge the fact that there's things that you can't control, you're immediately going to be in a better place. And I think
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's yeah, it's interesting. So where like who do you think who do you think? Yeah, we've gone on a deep, 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 deep rabbit hole. We probably this will probably be a 2 hour podcast in itself just on that conversation. But in terms of music, man, like going back to that, that's you. That's the industry you're in. Like who do you think's doing it right now in music? Who's doing it right? And I'm not necessarily hip hop, but just music in general.
Music in general, who's doing it right? Well, in terms of like appealing, like mass appeal, I would say Travis Scott is doing it very right. um
Why?
he's Astroworld was amazing, like in the sense that his he's a performer,
Mm,
he's a showman, you feel me, and
yeah,
he
man.
has some of the best live concerts that I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
and
Wow.
and I feel like that is, he's doing it right, like he's he's killing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw an interview of him, and he's not very good at articulating himself, but on stage he's a different animal. He's
Exactly.
it's crazy, man. The energy. Have you been to one of the shows or?
Never been to
Yeah,
a Travis show, but I can feel the energy from any of the videos that I see, like, and being a
yeah,
performer and seeing the reaction that he can get out of a crowd is crazy. It's
yeah, yeah,
almost
yeah,
unparalleled. Like, there's very few people who can do what he does to an
yeah, yeah.
entire stadium.
Oh, I bet, man. You almost need to have these synchronicity powers to
Yeah.
vibe on what, and that's. Would you say that's a real talent, or could that be learned about
Uh,
actually
I,
just knowing and understanding what the audience wants and giving it to them?
I feel like it's definitely a talent. You can learn it, but there's also something natural that you can never learn from something like that. Like, everybody has
Yeah,
their own stage presence, and I don't know. I've never seen a stage presence like Travis's. Like, and
yeah,
and and Tyler has a really cool stage presence when he wants to. I feel like he has
mm,
very good, like, staging, and the way that he's built his empire as well is
mm,
very is very ill. Same
mm,
with, like, Brockhampton, who's coming out now.
mm,
They're
mm,
super, they're tight, and I think the way that their aesthetic and the way that they move as a collective is very, it's lit.
mm,
It's tight. It's super. A lot of people can relate to Brockhampton because
mm,
they're very diverse, and I don't know. I I I,
mm,
I fuck with them. Kevin, I don't know what he does for Brockhampton, but he did my website actually. He's in Brockhampton, so
mm.
shout out to Kevin. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
I
whole
know.
bunch of
Isn't Brockhampton the collective of different artists and musicians and all sorts?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they do
yeah, because
everything.
they were here recently. Actually, I think we actually gave a few people from yeah, some clothing. I'm pretty sure,
Fire.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
they go hard.
but it's yeah, that's dope, man. So like, well, because I know we'll have to wrap this up shortly, but I've just got a few more questions as well as just to kind of before we wrap it up. And what's the message you were trying to give to people out there? Like obviously, you know, as an artist, you've got something to say. What is it actually you're trying to put out there and give to people?
I feel like I just want to let people know that there is more going on in the world than what we can see. Whether that be, um, whether that be physically, there are things, and I wouldn't say like monsters, but there are entities around us that we can't see because they're on a different plane of existence, uh different dimension, whatever you want to call that. You feel me? We live in, uh I guess, like a multi-dimensional space and time.
Mm,
We There's so much more to life than what you can see and what you can touch.
yeah, definitely, man. It's almost this spirit world or
Yeah,
that is happening around us. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
and it doesn't affect you. Like, the energy, you may feel something and you don't even know why you feel it,
Yeah,
but
man.
that's because of something that is not even in your control.
Yeah.
This it's not even, you have nothing to do with it, but it's
Mm,
still happening to you. And I feel
yeah.
like the more knowledgeable people are of things like that, the more, I guess, the more compassionate and the more understanding we can become of, like, people who we have no experiences with prior.
Mm, definitely, man. That's interesting. So as you know, like for I Love Ugly, we put out a lot of messages and share stories, and yeah, our overall philosophy is to inspire people to achieve their goals and aspirations. Um, like that's what we constantly get people emailing us about and thanking us for all the the messages or whatever we do put out around this. And just a question for you is, you've got you've done some phenomenal stuff, and you've had some failures, you've had a lot of successes. And what's your advice for people that do want to start, whether they're an artist or they want to start a podcast, or like, what's your advice? Because I think the first thing is like, the pattern I see in people, most common pattern is they start and they've got a lot of energy, and then after 3 months they weren't getting the traction which they envisioned, and they stop. What's your advice for these people to carry on?
That well, my advice for situations where things feel stagnant is just it could be right around the corner. The breakthrough that you're looking for or was hoping for could be a couple days away or a couple hours away, or you never
Mm,
know if you quit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta
yeah,
have faith in yourself more than anything. You gotta have
yeah,
faith in your team and your people and the people around you who support you more
mm,
than anything, because that's infectious. Your faith is infectious.
mm,
The people around you, they see what you believe in. You may convince them to believe in it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never
mm,
know the domino effect of human existence and the human, you know, how we interact with each other and how we pick
mm,
up on things subconsciously. Like, there's things going on, like I said, that you may not even know are going on to help you.
mm,
And you don't want to quit something, especially if you really love it. Like, if you really love something, do it because you really love it, and because you really have a connection and something to convey, and a message that will better the world ultimately. If you feel that is what you're doing, never stop. Never
mm.
stop.
Oh man, I couldn't have said it better, bro. You absolutely nailed it, and that's what you said. So true. Like, yeah, there's so many times, especially when we were going through all that shit at I Love Ugly. Just when we overexpanded, and I felt like quitting. It's those words that you just said now that actually kind of kept me going. Like, so many people quit. They quit just before you're going to get that breakthrough, or they can just see the palm trees in the horizon, when they're on the desert and they just see the oasis, and they just quit just
Yeah.
before that point. And I think that's that advice right there, which you've just given, is absolutely golden, and I think that will resonate with a lot of people, man. But bro, I just want to say, yeah, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
yeah, we could just tell it what's next for you, bro, and then after that, if you just tell our audience where to find you, like on Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. Yeah, so
Yeah,
what's
so
next, and then just tell them where to find you.
pretty much, I just released this instrumental tape. That's literally what it's called, instrumental tape. Um, yeah. And so now I'm full steam ahead on a Japanese horror film. I've released kind of like the demos and the instrumentals that, I feel like were good enough for it, but ultimately didn't fit what I was trying to do with it. So a Japanese horror film will be like my official debut album. Everything before it has been like a mixtape or a compilation or something like that. So
Damn.
it'll be my first full body of work that I mostly produced. It's super guitar heavy. It's very psychedelic. I'm doing a lot of research for it into the Japanese culture and into uh Japanese, folklore and everything like that. I've always been into folk music and folklore, so
Hmm.
I feel like yeah, just a Japanese horror film, and then after that, the sky is the limit.
Yeah. Yeah. So when's it coming out again? Sorry.
Well, right now it's still being made. I have so many songs for it, and it's kind of just about dwindling it down until it it actually, and piecing it together, connecting it the way that I feel like is seamless. And
Yeah.
so it's gonna be out this year though. It's definitely gonna
Yeah.
be out in 2019.
Do
But
you have a?
there's no specific date.
Is your manager or anything putting putting pressure on you for a certain date?
He's not too. Jeff isn't too like too. He's definitely like, yo, where is it? Where where is it? But
Yeah,
he's not too like. He knows it'll get done. Like I'm thinking, if not, like I think fall time, as far as like the atmosphere, is probably the
yeah,
best time to drop it,
yeah,
because in the southern hemisphere it's like it's still cold and stuff like
yeah,
that. So
yeah. Oh, that's dope, my man. And where can people find you?
oh yeah, I'm at on Instagram. It's Chester Watson. On Twitter, uh, Chester Watson with no vowels, so it's CHSTRWTSN. Um, yeah, and then on SoundCloud, Chester Watson. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, amazing, my man. Any last words or anything?
uh, Thank you to UV and I Love Ugly. Like, this shit is, I don't know, it's such a surreal experience. Like, this shit is so, it's so lit. Like, I'm honored to be in this position, and if anyone works hard, they can hit greater heights and do greater things than
Yeah, yeah,
a lot of people. So just stay
100%, man.
focused.
100%. Absolute pleasure, bro. And always enjoy talking to you, and looking forward to what the future entails. Obviously, we're going to support as best we can. We believe in you and what you're doing, bro. So it's exciting times ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, very exciting.
Thank you everybody for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and found any type of value, please subscribe to our podcast, share with your friends, and give us a 5-star review on iTunes to be in the draw to win a $200 I Love Ugly gift voucher. We will be drawing a winner weekly. Good luck, and see you on the next episode.